Are the days of DEI and horrible movies from Hollywood that are blamed on COVID, but it's actually DEI and politics and people screaming racism, yet promoting racism with DEI, picking people on skin color and gender instead of their accomplishments and abilities and intelligence. Are we turning the corner? Are we starting to fight back? Are things going to get better? I don't know, but all I can say is I think the movies that have been out recently, Deadpool Wolverine was the end of last year, and some would argue is not a great movie, but everyone is desperate for a non-DEI movie, so I think it was one of the highest grossing movies. I'm sure it did over $1 billion worldwide. Um, Obviously, Snow White is tanking. Minecraft, I think, did almost 400 million this opening weekend. And anyway, obviously Zellweger is an idiot and a moron. You don't have to do much research to see that she's committed career suicide. But this channel, I think, did a very good job of going a little deeper, like no one else has. It's a social chatterbox. Call out to them. Thank you. That she basically also declared war with her fellow actors and actresses, and even though she's young and should be seeking wisdom, has to tell everyone that she's in charge and she's smarter than them and all that good stuff.
And she didn't whisper it either.
Zegler also faced blowback after posting Free Palestine. The note is from Israel and served in the Israeli army.
And her not being aware of that, obviously she's the moron. But I tell everyone the whole Free Palestine thing is a diversion. It's trying to get, it's just like abortion or all these other arguments, or they're trying to get people to argue about the same things over and over again. When there's war, they each side attacks each other and does horrible things to each other. And people saying, Palestine attacked Israel, Israel attacked back, and saying like Israel is evil and horrible for attacking them back, and they need to be freed. It's ridiculous. It's ignorant.
Her Free Palestine tweet during filming apparently caused a storm, and it wasn't the kind that just quietly passed by.
We would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews.
Rumors swirled that things got tense on set, and that whole "we're just here to work" vibe might have been more about survival than solidarity. But politics isn't the only thing drawing a line between these two. Let's talk about their lives off camera. Gal is 39, a mother of 4, and has been married since 2008. She's all about that family-first energy, glowing in her red carpet gowns.
13, almost 8, 3.5, and 1.
Still figuring out how to balance award shows with apartment hunting.
Like when you leave the scene, I turned to the camera and I was like, "Gap."
And by the way, why did it take 4 years to film this movie? I get there was COVID and whatever, but like holy cow, like Disney is out of control with their spending. Just totally, they just need mass layoffs and need to start over. Totally out of control.
I was mad. But then
And obviously Kathleen Kennedy is responsible for most of this. The fact that Bob didn't have the coconuts to fire her, and all of the horrible human beings she put in power to ruin all these TV shows and movies. He's obviously tarnished his legacy.
you were FaceTiming your kids right after, being like, "Hey, it's so good."
These women are literally living in two different universes, and sometimes that gap can feel like a canyon. You're not going to find them swapping skincare tips in a trailer, at least not without a layer of polite awkwardness hanging in the air. But here's where it gets even juicier. Despite all the buzz and whispers, both actresses showed up together for the film's big Los Angeles premiere on March 15th, 2025. And yes, they posed side by side like it was a riddle. Was she
Obviously, them showing up together is a contract obligation they have, so that's not a big deal.
throwing shade while pretending not to? Or was she trying to say, move on, there's nothing to see here? While low-key confirming that there was definitely something to see here?
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
Now let's talk about how all of this really affected Disney. And here's a hint. Things are not going well for those guys. You'd think they'd be
So supposedly she's been sued to try to claw back some of her contractual, violating her contract, obviously. And it looks like that was true because she did, obviously she was silenced by everyone, but she's tried to go more positive now instead of her constant critique and, bossing everyone that, everyone's horrible and she's amazing.
Tension into the mix, and suddenly Disney had a PR crisis bigger than anything they were. Intelligence, optimism, basically everything you'd want from a modern-day princess. But while the casting team may have been enchanted, not everyone was cheering.
Every young person dreams about a phone call like that. I've been lucky to have a few of those in my life, but this one is certainly extra special as a
Yeah, you're not getting any more of those phone calls. If anyone hires her for anything again, I hope it gets boycotted so hard.
When talking about the character. So when Rachel, who is of Colombian and Polish descent, landed the role, it raised a lot of eyebrows. Comment sections exploded, and everyone from film critics to political commentators had something to say.
Reason Snow White is called
The conversation forward, reminding everyone that talent, not skin tone, should be the focus. She talked about how Snow White is beloved in Spanish-speaking countries, and how this role was an opportunity not just for her, but for a whole.
Anyway, the rest is just repetitive of what we've already seen, but are we going to see some more movies made that are could possibly be offensive? Oh my gosh, an offensive movie. Are we going to see more men, more movies and shows made for men, not just for women and girls, and less gaslighting from Disney and all these other companies doing the opposite of what they know people want, for whatever political reasons? What do you guys think?